All right. Welcome to Average Show Podcast. This will be episode 3 of 30 for my 30-day challenge, uploading 30 podcasts in 30 days. And since I'm doing so many episodes, I knew I'd have to get a little creative. So this is going to be one of the more interesting settings in a sauna. And I'm going to call this episode Sauna Thoughts. So if you've been following along, you know there's really no script when I do these episodes. So I'm just gonna kind of riff on whatever I'm thinking, whatever thoughts come to me. This isn't a traditional sauna, it's an infrared sauna, which there's debate on which one's better and the benefits of each, but an infrared sauna supposedly goes deeper into your muscles and is a little better for recovery. But most of the longitudinal studies on sauna overall benefits have been done in Finnish saunas. I think there's some statistic like there's more saunas than people in Finland or something crazy like that. But I do know that sauna culture is really big in Finland. I actually got the chance to go to one of the main ones. I think it was called Lola or Loya or something like that this past June. And what was really cool about that one, not only were the saunas, of course, amazing, they had one that it was a black smoke sauna where I think they light an actual fire inside the sauna, let all the smoke rise, which heats it up, and then they usher all the smoke out, but it has this almost smoky smell or like feel to it, if that makes sense. And then there was just your more traditional saunas. There was a sauna that overlooked the Baltic Sea, but you could also jump into the Baltic Sea in between these sauna rounds. I'm recording a podcast in the sauna, trying to get creative. Right? The mini mic is nice. Um, but that was a really cool experience. So I tried all these different saunas at this place in Finland, jumped in the Baltic Sea, did a few rounds of that. It is an interesting feeling, alternating heat and cold. I don't know why I'm losing my voice here. And I'm definitely only doing this one in one take because it perhaps struggling through the one take. Anyways, so I guess I could talk about my health routine, or specifically my exercise routine, because that's actually been one thing I've been really consistent about for years now. I mean, even since college, I've been pretty consistent at working out, but after college is when I really got into a stricter routine. So I follow Andrew Huberman Lab, one of the biggest podcasts, probably the biggest podcast in the health space. I actually follow what he laid out. He has a foundational fitness plan. It's available for free online, and he's talked about it in podcast. I kind of follow that model. I've definitely adapted it a little bit to meet my needs more specifically, but I'll just go through what a week looks like starting on Sunday. I do the same thing pretty much every week, and I'll caveat when I do switch things up. But on Sunday, I do a long endurance workout. So I usually shoot between 60 to 75 minutes, and typically it's a run. So I'll go on, I mean, there's runners, there's an easy pace, which it may not sound easy, but easy for me is like 9 minutes a mile. So usually if I run for about 60 minutes, I'll hit around 7 miles, give or take, if how good I'm feeling that day. If I am sick or tired or traveling, sometimes I'll substitute it for cycling or just getting like a ton of steps in for the day. When I was in Europe recently, I think I walked, I think it was actually 20 miles in a single day. So that for me counts as a long endurance workout, even if it wasn't a run, because I move so much. And then Monday, I do legs resistance training, so I'll do two workouts each for my thighs, my hamstrings, and my calves. And I also superset these. So this is usually like a 20 to 30-minute workout. And I'll usually just do dumbbells. But if I have access to a gym, I'll switch it up. I've even done body weight before when I've had to, but I just do two exercises per muscle group that I talked about. And then Tuesday, um, and Huberman's plan, he has the alternating sauna with cold plunge. I absolutely hate cold plunging or cold water or cold showers. I mean, it's so aversive to me, so I just don't do it. Um, so instead, I'll do a sauna. Like today is a Tuesday. I think it does make me feel better and it does help my muscles since I am working out so much. So that's usually what I'll do on Tuesday. I can also substitute that for a hot bath, or if I'm traveling and don't have access to either of those, I'll just take a really long hot shower. And I also try to do some stretching or yoga on Tuesdays too. And then Wednesday, um, I do two exercises each for my chest, back, shoulders, and then I'll also do one for my neck and then my rear delts, which I'll do one of each for those. And then Thursday will be a moderate intensity cardio day. So usually it's 35 minutes. Usually I do a run and I shoot for like a 7 minute per mile pace. I usually get closer to 7:30. But that's a good 35 minutes is like it's long enough, but not too long. But it's those are really challenging, but I always feel great after doing those runs. And then Friday will be a high intensity interval training. And this one I probably switched up the most. I've done Huberman says to do, 10-minute rounds where you either do like 20 or 50 seconds with 30 seconds or 10 seconds off, stuff like that. And I've done variations of that. Sometimes I'll get on the rowing machine or the ski machine. But the best workout for me, I think, is the Norwegian 4x4, which I'll do running. So it's 4 minutes of walking, like slow pace, and then 4 minutes of high intensity, like really pushing yourself running, and 4 rounds of that total. So it's about 16 minutes of pretty much all out effort or close to it, and then 16 minutes of just relaxing plus warm up and whatever you do on the back end or stretching and whatever, which is something I do need to get a little better about is the warm ups. Stretching. I think sometimes I just jump into things and I'm young, so that works now, but I probably should work on my flexibility a little bit more. I've definitely focused on strength and cardio a good bit. And then Saturday, finally, I'll do two exercises each for my biceps, triceps, abs, calves, and then also tibialis raises and another neck exercise. So it's actually pretty close to the Huberman plan with some adaptation. So that's pretty much what I do. I try to stick to it even when I'm traveling. Sometimes I'll double up on days or move days around. And then every quarter, I take 1 week where I'm fully off just to let my body recover, catch up on whatever I need to catch up on outside of health. But working out's become just such a thing for me that I feel so off if I don't do it. And then on top of all this, I do walk. I really like to walk. I think I have a pretty stressful job, and sometimes I'm just stressed with life. And the absolute best tool for me is just to go on a long walk. So usually I'll walk in the morning, ideally. It does suck now that it's getting colder, but in my ideal world, I'll do a walk in the morning and then I'll also do a walk in the afternoon. And those can range from 10 to 40 minutes, depending how I'm feeling or how stressed I am or how much I feel like I want to walk. But I don't normally walk twice a day. That's just if I have a really open day or if I'm able to, I would. Wow, it is getting hot in here. Oh, but that is pretty much my routine. It's pretty flexible, but I think it does cover everything. I mean, I don't know. I'm sure there's stuff I could be missing, but I feel like I kind of target everything. The cardio, like three different types of it, keeps it different. The weight days are really different. Doing the sauna and recovery, so you have a day dedicated to that too. I mean, it's a pretty good mix. Shout out Huberman for that foundational fitness plan. It's worked really well for me. I think I do feel really good, and I feel like I'm in good shape and I take care of myself. Um, One thing, probably the most recent change I made is taking creatine, and honestly, I don't know if I feel that different, but I definitely notice that I look a little different. Like my muscles definitely do look a little bigger, and I think it is because of the creatine. I don't think it's just psychological, but it does give kind of a more, I want to say almost like full look that I like. So that's good. I think I'm gonna keep taking creatine. I don't really have any side effects, and I know there's a lot of benefits that maybe are more subtle, but it's one of the most well-researched supplements there are, creatine monohydrate. And then outside of that, I take my magnesium at night. I'll take ashwagandha or L-theanine if I'm really stressed. That's supposed to help, but I don't take those that often. And then I have a multivitamin, but I'm so inconsistent at taking it. I feel like I only take it just at random times, usually when I travel or if I'm sick. Um, but yeah, and what else can I yap about here while I'm in sweating in the sauna? I am excited for this podcast. I do like the direction it's going. I think this 30 podcast in 30 days challenge is exactly what I needed personally because I do like pushing myself. I do want to see this podcast grow. And even if it doesn't grow from this challenge, which is, I mean, very possible, I at least will have put a lot of effort in and I'll be better able to do whatever I want to do and know the direction that I want to go. And I'll just get more skilled at doing this format and this medium. So I'm excited. I think I mean I've already done two episodes. The first one was an introduction, but the conversation with Maddie, it was the third one we did and it was actually my favorite one so far. I think I really like, I mean, the way I'm doing these podcasts, one, it makes it possible for a challenge like this because I'm not doing editing. I'm really not editing much at all. The only times I'll edit is if there's a serious issue with the audio or something else, and I'll fix that. But I'm not cutting up clips. I'm not adding music. I don't have scripts. I mean, at most, I'll talk to a guest before and be like, "Hey, is there anything you really want to talk about? Anything you really don't want to talk about?" But we don't script these podcasts at all. So even me here right now, I mean, I had an idea. I was like, I can talk about my health routine, talk about whatever. But yeah, I wish I didn't. I don't know why my voice was so off on the front end of this, but either way, it's definitely getting hot in here. And I hope the audio sounds okay. I know I'm using a wireless mic. I'm in a hot sauna. This thing is pretty light, so I'm not too worried about it overheating, but it's not like sauna and electronics go together. But another thing I do really like about the sauna on that train is I don't, I don't wear any headphones. I don't bring any electronics into here. So this and running are really the two times where I'm doing an activity that I always do not have my phone. So if I'm going on a run, I mean sometimes depending, like if I don't know where I am, I'll put it in a belt bag, but I'm not checking it while I'm running. Um, and when I run, I don't listen to music, which is, I know sounds crazy to people. I used to always listen to music or a podcast or something, but now I actually really enjoy not because I feel like I listen and consume and I'm stimulated enough. So it's actually pretty relaxing for me to not have that. And then also, usually I like to run outside, and I think it's good just to have more energy to pay attention to my surroundings and everything going on. And sometimes I run like on the side of the road and stuff like that. But also in the sauna, and I think that's also why, shower thoughts are such a thing, is because it's almost out of your normal routine and you don't have anything distracting you. And it's pretty amazing where your brain can wonder and thoughts you can have and things you can come up with, um, when that happens, when you're finally sort of away from stimulation and you're just thinking, which is uncomfortable. And I know I get bored really easy and I have a lot of energy and I always want to be doing things. But I know it is good to step back sometimes, especially if things are particularly stressful or if there's really a problem that you need to solve. I think sometimes we just want to fix it or do it, but I, maybe the best solutions come when we step back a little bit. And it is also amazing how much time makes things better. I mean, everything. I mean, it's crazy to think about what I used to think was such a big deal, like in middle school, in high school. I mean, even in college, even even now, I'm sure I'll look back and be like, I can't believe that mattered so much in the moment, like what someone said, or that beep is the 5 minute warning, like what someone said or something you did, or you didn't get, that room you wanted, or I mean, just it's amazing how things feel so real in the moment, and then time really does give you a sense of perspective that maybe this wasn't that big of a deal. Maybe I'm just fine. And I guess a good example of that for me is I spiral fractured, my fibula on my left leg. And it was right after I ran a marathon. I was in really good shape. I was running a lot that morning before I fractured it. I actually ran 8 miles. And then that night after it happened, in a really just dumb way in a parking lot, um, I couldn't walk. And I remember in the moment thinking, like, my life is over. My leg is never going to be normal. I'm never going to be able to run like I did. Um, I'm like, this is just terrible. I'm screwed. I'm never going to be okay. They initially told me I would need surgery, and then they said, well, we'll see what happens. And then I ended up not needing surgery, and not only that, I ended up completely recovering. I've ran maybe faster than I did even before, and I did a half marathon, a few months after I fully recovered, the Nashville Rock and Roll half marathon, and I finished in under an hour 40. I got an hour 39, and I remember, like towards the end, I had just so much energy. I felt so emotional, like I was tearing up crossing the finish line because I was like, I can't believe, I felt like I wasn't going to be able to walk. I'd never had really broken a bone before. I didn't have experience with that. And everything was not only okay, but I actually was in great shape and it didn't slow me down and it didn't stop me. And I mean, it was difficult, but I got through it and I got through all the mental stuff telling me, don't push it, don't do this. And I I mean, I'm not saying push it if you have an injury, like be safe, but I think sometimes, like if you're like me and you overthink things and maybe, a little on the neurotic side at times, at some point, if a doctor tells you you're good to do it, just go. I mean, just push yourself. It's amazing how resilient our bodies and our minds and just people are in general, and how we can adapt to things and do things. And I think that it's easy to kind of be angry at the world sometimes. And I mean, life isn't fair. Everyone feels like they're doing more than everybody else. And, you see things in the news that are crazy. And, sometimes people are not always clear on their intentions. And I don't think any of it, I think it's better to look at it, and this is kind of a Robert Greene take, but that people just are what they are. And actually, uh, while we tend to highlight the negative, there's a ton of positive. And I think we really should appreciate how ourselves and other people, how we adapt to things, how we make things happen, how we're consistent and we show up and we're creative and we just we really are so resilient, and it's amazing the things that people have done, that people continue to do, that people make systems like child welfare work, that we interact with these families, that we solve these impossible problems, that we do all these challenges, that we figure out our personal lives, that most people are relatively successful, whatever that means to them. I mean, that is absolutely amazing to me, and I think we should appreciate people more than we should just say that, oh, people suck and life sucks and life's hard, which I mean it is, but there's also a lot of good. I'm nearing the end of my sauna journey here, but I think I've had some good thoughts. If you've listened to all of this, thank you so much. If you've been watching this series, thank you so much. If you've watched any of the episodes, thank you so much. So follow along, please subscribe. 30 podcast in 30 days. Pretty intense challenge for me, but I think I'm going to get a lot of good content, insights, and I'm going to be so much better as the host of this podcast and saying what I want to do. So I appreciate all of you guys, and that is my time. So thank you for watching. Thank you for all the support, and I will see you guys tomorrow for episode 4.